Hey everybody, welcome back. Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Just kind of hoping, I mean, it's the same day. I'm recording a bunch of these so I can kind of like get ahead, right? Just kind of hoping we could have like a low-key run. Now Judas is like, there's the potential for a low-key run. Don't get me wrong, there's also the potential that we die immediately. So, here's our seed, by the way. VKFSAQ8P. I like playing as Judas. I am just obviously conscious of the fact that until we get a Spirit Heart, this run is kind of on borrowed time. But I mean, it's easy to fall in love with, you know, this random series that we're doing here, just because of the fact that it's new, and you're like, you know, you feel a little sauced up right from the get-go, right? You're like, this run could go anywhere. It could be just a win with extra steps, but we gotta watch out for the champions. That's my concern right now. They almost killed us on our lost run. But I think, like, you know, I really feel, let's not say under the gun. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm too much of a victim of Isaac or whatever, because the runs have largely been wins, except for the one that made me want to never play this game ever again. But we really have had, like, 4 hard runs in a row. And I don't mean hard like, oh, we had to like try for a bit and then we crested. I mean like really genuinely difficult, like it was in flux until almost the very end. Like, in a way, again, I'm kind of grateful to the game for giving me the opportunity to be sort of aggressive and, you know, to prove that I still got what it takes. Especially after having some hard losses lately, but still, like, there is also an element for sure that's like, could I just have like one just have one Isaac run maybe that is like, you know, I have good stats. Now the thing is, this run right now, it doesn't have good stats. What are you talking about? This has got great ones. The ability to get 8.71 damage, obviously, like, absurd, and there's a lot of outs for us right off the bat. That's one of them. And I'll probably just leave. I guess I'll go to the curse room first, but they like our damage is essentially sorted. You know, 10 rate of fire, 4.72 damage by default. It's not like you don't win instantaneously, but it's good. And I really wanted that to be a secret room, but that's okay. Okay, that's very nice, and you just, you know, don't blow up on your way out. You're doing pretty well. So I feel, believe it or not, I feel like this is our secret room. Yeah, it's just it. And I'm gonna take a bit of a lark on this one, but okay, mission failed, but life goes on. It is, anytime you see that room, it almost always illuminates what the secret room is. I feel, whether or not that's actually true remains to be seen. This run is now probably exactly what I want. It's a run that is relatively safe, but also pretty strong. So hey, how about that? Can I tell you something? I've been getting increasingly mad at the internet, and I think that, you know, that rage is something that I channel into this kind of like, you know, impotent commentary where, like, I don't see the end goal of, you know, like personal self-actualization or whatever, of nirvana, if you will. I don't see that as being like never being offended by what you see on the internet, never being upset, etc., etc. Instead, I think my kind of ideal is to channel it as much as possible into like a Larry Davidian sort of energy, you know, to be able to harness, you know, that sort of vitriol and misanthropy, I suppose, as almost like a fuel for commentary, without letting it personally affect me on a deep level. I think that's the dream, quite frankly. We're gonna hit this real quick, just see what we get. I would say not worth it, because we could have used the bomb to get a key to get into our item room, but if it had given us small rock, I would have felt very much worth it. It's alright, we'll see what our deal with the devil holds. And here's one that I'm like, you could make like a Seinfeld 2020 episode about this. You know, it's no secret I've been, I don't want to say studying, but you know what I mean. I've been learning about investing as a hobby for a bit here. Just yet another arc that I try to commentate on as little as possible, but it just slips out. In this case, it's just ancillary to the bit, though. So I was looking up stuff about, like, dividends. We don't want it. I was looking up stuff about dividends, and I was like, what does yield mean? Because, you know, like a stock can pay out, and again, it's kind of, it doesn't matter for the spirit of the bit, but just so you have as much background information as possible, a stock has a yield. It, you know, let's say it's $10 a share. If it's got a 4% yield, what does that mean? Does that mean it pays out 4% of its stock price quarterly, or does it mean that it pays out 1% of its stock price quarterly, and then it does that 4 times a year? Anyway, so I Google, like, what is yield? Top result, Reddit thread. What does it mean when it says dividend yield? Great question. Pretty much exactly my question. Top comment in the thread is some jerk. And I don't apologize for it. Wait till you hear the story, okay? Some jerk that has replied with an lmgtfy link. Do you know what lmgtfy is? It's let me Google that for you. It's a website where if you're so offended that somebody has a question that they didn't look up themselves, you can maintain a little air of intellectual superiority, because you're not like them. You know how to solve your own problems, and you can type in, like, you know, whatever they should have searched in your, like, to your standards, Mr. President, and then, you know, when they click on the link thinking it's going to be helpful, actually, it'll just search on Google for them what they should have searched for themselves, and then you will, like, they'll have learned a lesson, and they'll go, oh, I'm sorry I wasted Mr. Important's very, very precious time. Obviously, his time must be very important, because rather than answer the question in a single sentence, he instead tried to, you know, use 5 minutes of his own personal time to teach me a lesson. So obviously he's doing very important stuff. Anyway, so in case you're wondering, like, why does this guy hate Let Me Google That For You so much? Well, it's always just rude, for one. You could just not reply. Everybody on the internet, like, you could assume if somebody's aware of what Reddit is, they've probably heard of a little site called Google. Are you offended that somebody asked a question into the ether and you felt compelled to respond with something a little bit elitist and snobby? Well, then maybe that's an indictment of your personality as opposed to their ignorance. Secondarily, you're actually making it harder to search for things when you reply to very keyword-rich questions with "Let me Google that for you" links. What you are now doing is creating, you're at least contributing to an Ouroboros, where when somebody else searches, which is what you wanted them to do in the first place, rather than waste your precious time, well, you got to, okay, no, I was going to say, well, you got BoJack Horseman up on your other monitor, but look, I don't mean to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I hear the show is really good. But now, it's harder, not impossible, harder to Google that, because the first result is a thread where the top comment is a "Let me Google that" link. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Like, do you not understand that, like, now as a result of your assumed intellectual superiority, you have actually done the dumbest thing of all, which is make the search engine actually worse at its job? It's just, like, there's just no need for it. I mean, if somebody asks a complicated question that, like, requires maybe, like, a scientific journal or something like that to understand it, sure, maybe you're not gonna, like, spend an hour writing up a coherent reply that makes sense. Maybe you'd instead be like, hey, check out this link to, you know, Nature or something like that. But to just smugly be like, because, like, it's not just, like, it's not like they don't know how to use Google, and it's not like they're asking somebody else to do the work for them. They're just asking, you know, like, maybe they've looked it up, but they need some, like, a secondary explanation in different words, right? It's just so much easier to just, like, ignore the question than to be the weirdo who's like, have you heard of a little site called Google? Like, why do you log on and just want to argue? It's just so weird to me. I can picture, like Larry David dressed like Steve Jobs in Seinfeld 2040. You know, when you reply, "Let me Google that for you," that gets indexed by Google, and then that becomes the thing that you find on Google. Isn't that curious? Larry, you bald-headed son of a gun. You bald jerk. Anyway, like, just don't, like, I don't think we need it. We have so much HP already. You know, if we're still on the kick of trying to, like, offer some actionable advice, you don't need to reply smugly, like, with "Let me Google that for you" links. Like, you really think your time... It's like It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If your time is so valuable that you get offended by people asking you questions that they could Google the answers for themselves, why would you take the time? You literally just shouldn't have it available. You shouldn't have the time available to you in order to do that, because your time is so precious, obviously. Like, imagine, and I already know the counterexample to this, but let's walk through it regardless, because it's Isaac, right? We gotta follow the whole conversational thread to its endpoint just to fill the time. Imagine if you were like a, elementary school teacher and you were like teaching grammar or something like that, and then, one of the kids put up their hand and they asked, like, what's an adjective? And you were like, oh, Susie, I'm glad you asked. Hey, can we get the projector set up? And then you just go, hit her with the Google. What is an adjective? And then you didn't even explain it. You were just like, there it is. Just look at it for yourself. Now you might say, NL, teacher's job is to teach. My job when I'm, browsing r/Java is not to be a teacher. Really? Then what is your job when you're on r/Java? Can you believe what they did to the garbage collector in the newest update? What is Oracle thinking? I mean, what are you doing? You're already there wasting your time. You couldn't just either ignore a stupid question, or a question that you feel is stupid but is actually fairly sensible, or alternatively just answer it in one sentence rather than taking 3 times as long? It doesn't take me 3 times as long because I have a macro, because that's 90% of my replies on the internet are let me Google that for you links. I'm just listen to yourself. Just listen to the version of yourself that I've created in my head. Hold on, I think Twitch has tweeted a clip with me in it. Yo, it's me and Uno. Okay, hold on. 1 second. So it's a minute-long clip. I gotta figure out where I am. Just give it a second. Best of 2020 Twitch rivals. It's probably gonna be pretty loud. Alright, this is not me. This is Fall Guys. I know you're like, can you play the clip? No, it doesn't belong to me. But I can play my audio from the clip. Okay, this is Chess Twitch rivals. I don't know who it is. Okay, this is Yasuo and Tyler 1. Yasuo, of course, embarrassed me. Oh, it's me!
Northernlion, the perfect color shift!
Okay, anyway, that's from Twitch Rivals Uno. That was a fun time. I hope that music is not DMCA-able. Imagine the irony of Twitch. If Twitch DMCA music because of the. Let me Google that for you. Anyway, Northernlion with the perfect color. Yeah, I'm pretty good at Uno. Except I did come. I think I came in 7th out of 8 in that tournament. But honestly, like, it's Uno, right? Like, Uno World Championships, you know what I'm gonna say. I preferred the Uno World Championships when they were called random number generator. Random RNG equals new random open parentheses, and then you put an int seed in there. And you see, like, that's what you freaking sound like, man. Anyway. I wasn't actually mad, because then I just went, oh, okay, I'll go to a different website, and then, like, moreover, then I go into that guy's profile, and I look at, like, all the smug stuff that he's commented, and I'm like, oh, wow, you must be really smart. It's crazy how you spend, 4 hours a day on the Genshin Impact subreddit. Must have missed that one in Albert Einstein's autobiography, where he was like, oh, some of the smartest people I know waste all their time talking online about mobile gacha games. Anyway, look, if you would spend your time talking about mobile gacha games online, it doesn't bother me at all. You're my people, right? It's only if you're also kind of being an a-hole that all of a sudden you invite that level of judgment into your life to kind of pay it forward. But let's call it pay it backwards in this case. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So Genshin Impact is always the game that I go to as the joke there. I got nothing against Genshin Impact. It's just the one that's just popular right now, so it doesn't even, it's not scorn. Like, I'm not upset that Genshin Impact is popular, I'm just merely using that as a point of reference, because if I mean, it's contemporaneous, right? Like, I don't want to use a game that hasn't been popular for 20 years, like, Escape from Tarkov. Anyway, so I guess we're making enemies today. Is that what we're gonna do today? We're gonna fight? He's feeling saucy. This is... It's because there's so much pent-up energy in the banter chamber from having, like, 7 Isaac episodes in a row that were all difficult. Now we got one that's, like, a little bit on the easier side, even though this room's a little dangerous. And I feel like I can be, like, you know, a little bit more saucy. I got, like, pent-up demand, you know? I did not mean to be so rude. It wasn't on me. It was my food. It just popped up to say hello, and now it's gone back down below. Okay, so we got a 73% chance of a deal with the devil, which is like 36 deal with the angel, 36 deal with the devil. I support this. I would be excited, to be sure. A surprise, but a welcome one, to get a deal here. I'm a little scared. Like, I don't think I necessarily should be, but probably should not use our orbital so much. Because there is the chance to get hit for 1 full damage here. Yeah, by that guy right there. Okay. Deal with the devil. We can definitely take HP in, just in case it's Krampus. It's another, like, inert deal with the devil. I don't support it. I don't support it. I don't stand by it. Where are we at here? Caves 2. So we're basically, like, on pace. This is a freaking huge floor, by the way. Look at the size of this thing. Check our shop real quick. What do we like? I think we like PhD well enough, and now we'll just try to remember to take pills. Relax, that's a good one. Power pill actually is pretty good, but it's not what we want right now. And then a card, which is the 2 of clubs. It's 2 bombs for 5 cents. And we'll blow this up. I wouldn't mind, like, blank card, sure, but BFF would also be pretty good. So I think we're going to take a little bit more time to explore on this floor. And oh, I was going to say the easy target is the boss trap room, but we don't have the ability to go to the boss trap room anymore. Because I got my freaking HP back from PhD. Frick. I'm not going back into the curse room to get a pill, probably just to have it be like, you know, one makes you larger. Whoop. Luck up. That's now we're talking. Now we're starting to move the needle in the right direction. More bombs would be nice as well. Okay, maybe we'll buy some spirit hearts on the way out. I don't know. We'll see. No rush. Anyway, what's going on in my life? It's pretty, like, just nothing. It's pretty chill. I would say when it comes to the quote-unquote, and these are my words, not mine, when it comes to the quote-unquote chillest week of the year, it's gotta be the week between Christmas and New Year's, right? Christmas and New Year's Day are spaced 7 days apart, like that week. You don't even, like, know what's up. Like, it's funny, because it's even weirder in Canada this year, because Christmas was on a Saturday, which means Boxing Day was on a Sunday. We get Boxing Day as a holiday in Canada. So then the holiday actually fell on the Monday, which is the 28th. Wait, I think I got it backwards. Christmas was a Friday. Boxing Day was a Saturday. So the 28th was a holiday. Yeah, and look, long and the short of it is, nobody knows what's happening this week. I'm getting, like, professional emails, and I'm like, why are you emailing me? It's still Christmas. This week doesn't exist. Just eat hot sandwiches and, you know, watch, like, It's a Wonderful Life on TV or whatever. I'm not mad, like, because sometimes I'm emailing them, and then when they reply, I'm like, what are you doing? You have a family. And they're like, I'm engaging in commerce. And I'm like, you know what? Admirable, I suppose. Where are we at here? Dank Depths 1. Remember when everyone was saying dank all the time? Like dank memes? That word's really fallen out of favor. I wonder if we have reached a point where... Because, like, there's 2 meanings to dank, right? There's, like... I mean, there's a few meanings to dank. The principal meaning originally was, like, kind of moist and musty. Like, your basement is dank. Now, in about 2013, if you said someone's basement was dank, they would probably be like, "Thank you! I've been trying to dank it up." But I wonder if we're almost back at the point where, at least for people of a certain age, dank, again, means is more related to humidity than humorousness. I wonder. We gotta be getting close. Nobody says dank memes anymore. And if anybody, we've now reached the point, you probably started saying dank memes when you were about 12 years old, so which means you're about 13 right now. If you said dank memes, your friends would probably be like, "Okay, Grandpa." My older brother says dank memes, and he's in 11th grade. You must be freaking ancient. I can't believe we played Roblox together. So embarrassing. He's taking no prisoners today. It's true, I am taking no prisoners today. Because I am not involved in the corrections industry. I mean, for one, I have no, interest. Secondarily, I don't know if, what the heck? Sorry, I surprised myself with how surprised I was. It's a ghost walk. We may actually want IV bag, by the way. It's kind of it's a more fun item, for sure. I just don't really know. I'm pretty sure our HP is, like, very good right now, but, you don't want to take chances unnecessarily. We could definitely play around a little bit there. What was I talking about? Whoa! My deal with the devil! I'm so stupid! Wait a minute. No, that makes sense. I'm dumb. It hurts with the IV bag, but it doesn't hurt if you played a blood bank, huh? Don't encounter that too much. Mostly because, you don't take the IV bag. Well, I'm stupid. And no, wait, that's right. We're supposed to have a 36% chance, because we had to deal with the devil on the last floor. I think, it just hurt our deal with the devil chance for that individual room, maybe. Anyway. What the heck was I even talking about, man? Roblox? Oh, yeah, like, I don't know if I would be a good, like, I mean, I no risk of me, like, probably becoming a prison guard anytime soon, right? I think I would walk into the interview and they would be like, the auditions for baldest nerd are 2 doors down, actually. Oh, thank you. But I always feel like I'm one of those guys who's like, I look at, like, the Norwegian prison model, and I'm like, man, that's the way we should do it, right? Like, it should be about rehabilitation instead of, like, punishment, and, we gotta recognize that there's, crime is multifaceted. There are probably people who you could aptly describe as monsters, but then there's also people who, like, societally just happen to start behind the 8 ball, and they find themselves, going down a wrong path early, but, they're not the same person at, 35 that they were at 18, and they deserve a chance. I also feel like if somebody wronged me individually, like if somebody, like, even if they just took, like, a candy bar from my grocery store or something like that, I'd be like, the chair. You gotta give them the chair. I don't know. Like, it's easy, I guess, to be in a position where you're like, if somebody else has been wronged, you're like, come on, how long are you gonna hold that grudge? You gotta let go of it. But then if somebody wrongs me, I'm like, I'm salt in the earth. I'm not really, like, mostly I'll just be like, just kind of ignore you, I guess, but like on a criminal level, if you wronged me, I feel like I would want them to throw the book at you. I don't know, basically what I'm saying is I'm a hypocrite, which is not surprising, I suppose. I don't really want it, like, am I bad? Am I entitled? I kind of feel like I resent that we seem to have not had, like, a good deal with the devil, except for Incubus on our last run for, like, quite some time. Like, our hit rate on deals with the devil and deals with the angel are very low lately. I mean, anytime you're still getting deals with the angel on the depths, you're like, probably the deals with the devil have been kind of poo-poo, but anyway. Yeah, everything's going good. I'm just, we're just conversational right now. You know how it is. You know how dogs is and all that. He's just studying it. You guys seen that video of Mike Tyson training for his fight with Roy Jones Jr.? Where he says, I have the power of Mao inside of me, and then just goes, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to like get political with it. It's just not a video you expect to see, right? You're like Iron Mike, you know, from the movie The Hangover. And also his lucrative boxing career. Just popping in to say, I've got the power of Mao inside of me. Ha 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 ha. And that's not him laughing. That's him, like, rattling off a series of, like, you know, like 500 punches in 2 seconds. It's wild, man. Who's Mao? I'm joking, okay? Anyway, yeah, it's probably best to pivot. This is the problem with pivoting. Is what am I gonna pivot to, dude? You guys look out the window recently? That's about all I got. Just that, and then, like, you know, not to bring people down, but, you know, every place in the world slowly announcing that they've discovered a case of the new mutant strain of the virus, and then you're like, oh, how did that happen? And they're like, well, wouldn't you know it, he went on a family vacation to England over the course of the last month. He's like, I know I shouldn't do it, but it is Christmas, and then you fly to England. What's the worst that could happen? I could get the virus? Oh no! I've accidentally spread a new mutant strain that's 70% more contagious. Well, nevertheless, there's nothing I could have done, you know? We don't need to get into it. I know it's a controversial topic. I'm just saying, like, you just had to keep it under control for, like, maybe like a teensy, just Zoom, man, is free, like, just for a year. Anyway, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but, like, because, like, I'm very, I am a judgmental person, but not judgmental with consequence, if that makes sense. I'm judgmental of myself. Like, I'm like, why would you do that, dummy? But then, like, I have a live and let live attitude simultaneously. The flip side is when, you know, it artificially extends the length of, you know, the precautions that are necessary in order to keep people safe because you wanted to eat some authentic Yorkshire pudding, and then you go, maybe you could have just not instead. Like, you ever consider that one? Just throwing that. Anyway, we don't need to get into it. It's just, you know, more of the same. It's not like weighing on me. It's just like reading the news and going, like, how about that? I'm not saying that they should name the people. All I'm saying is that if you are friends with these people on Facebook, I think you should react to their posts with, like, an angry face. That's it. You don't have to say, like, hey, how could you do this? Because, you know, that's a level of confrontation you might not be comfortable with. But if you know the people on Facebook that were involved in this particular scheme, just react to every single one of their posts for the rest of their life with an angry face. They'll be very confused because they'll, you know, probably forget about their involvement within, like, you know, 6 weeks. And they'll be like, oh, remember that crazy time? And that, you just keep hitting them with the angry face, you know? Had a lovely day at the park. Angry face. For life. Just for, you could set up a macro, maybe. I don't want you to actually, you know, cause harm to these people. Only psychic harm. Just enough. It's even better if you barely know them. Because then it's like if it was a close friend, they would probably be like, you know, hey, why are you leaving these angry faces on my nice Facebook statuses? But if it's like merely an old colleague or acquaintance or something like that, they might not feel comfortable broaching the conversation with you, and then it just lingers like a disarming stain. Anyway, so that's praxis for me. But yeah, I mean, it's not really, you know, I'm not getting that misanthropic about it because I was already kind of like at peak misanthropy. If we still had IV bag, that'd be interesting, but we didn't. We chose a different path, like in chess.com. We chose a different path today. I would say we want to reroll. And don't get me wrong, I could go for some Yorkie P right now. That's Yorkshire pudding. It's not dog urine, I assure you. It's like you don't even watch the cooking channel. Man, I haven't had a Yorkshire pudding for... It's been a long time. And I'll go a step further. Are we going... I know we have the 1-up. I still don't think it's worth it. I think, honestly, I think that's a 1-bop Marty. You might disagree with me, and I defend to the death your right to do so, but I think that's one where you just kind of chill out. We don't need a 4th level Meat Boy, and I'll tell you why. Because they kind of suck. I wish they didn't. 1st level Meat Boy, oh my god, it's like one of the best items in the game. I've really come around to it. I will say, it's an honest question, I don't mean to offend. Why is it called pudding when it's like bread? And don't even get me started on bread pudding, which is just like baked sandwiches, right? Like pudding, I'm not a pudding expert, I've said this before. I don't believe, to the best of my knowledge, I've ever consumed pudding in my entire life. Not even as a child. Never had the chocolate snack packs. Jell-O, yes. And I liked Jell-O a decent amount as a kid, for sure. Even now, if I went to like a Chinese buffet or something like that, when it came time for dessert, I would probably go over to the dessert area, and I would be like, first off, I want to get a little bit of this fruit cocktail, where all the fruits taste exactly like orange, because they're just soaked in orange juice. And then I might get a little red or green Jell-O as well. It's just, I don't know, like when a Chinese buffet to me tastes like spare ribs, lemon chicken, egg rolls, but they're not very good, and then Jell-O. I don't know how to explain it. And then maybe sometimes get a weird, like, pizza slice. I'm not saying you should get a pizza slice at the Chinese buffet, because it's, you know, they're not really renowned for the pizza at like, you know, Panda Garden or whatever. I know it sounds like whoa. No, there's a Chinese buffet in my hometown called Panda Garden. I guess the big one is the Mandarin chain of restaurants, but we didn't have one of those in my hometown. We had to go to the Panda Garden. But here's a controversial take. I want to be very clear from the outset. I am not saying Chinese food is bad. Here's what I am saying, okay? I think, like, food court Chinese food, like a relatively cheap Chinese buffet Chinese food is actually bad. Like it's not good. It's almost irredeemable, but sometimes it's just, it hits the spot, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I crave Chinese food and I'm like, oh, I would really, Sacred Heart, you shouldn't have. Sometimes I crave Chinese food and I'm like, oh, I'd really love to have, like, not fancy, but, you know, maybe like a $2 sign Chinese food that's like, you know, kind of nice and fresh and yada yada. And sometimes I'm like, I could really go for like some, this is genuine, by the way, I'm not putting on airs. So there's sometimes where I get like a craving for just like deep fried saucy chicken that's been left under the heating lamp for so long that it's actually turned into like it's grainy when you bite into it, like it has sinews that get stuck in your teeth. I'm like, yeah, I could really go for that. I think I already told this story, but like, it's so weird to me. Like, we went to, well, we didn't went to go, but like we were at a food court in transit, and first off, I have to point out, this is like 2 months ago. It's very nice. Again, it's the thing I've always been saying about it, having to be at a place of business during the pandemic. I'm not pro-pandemic, because that's just insanity. But I will also say, if we could just keep this going after the danger is gone, and just continue having none of the places that I enjoy frequenting ever be populated, that would be sweet. If they could also somehow suffer no financial repercussions as a result of having no customers, also good. But, you know, you're in a situation where you're like, you know, I'm used to things taking a long time. Sometimes they still do. It depends on the demand. But, like, you find yourself in a food court. There's literally 0 people. You're like, oh, it's like I have my pick of the litter. It's like being at Six Flags Cedar Point on like the first day it opens and it's rainy and like, you know, you get the idea. I don't know. That's my... The metaphor maybe fell a little flat. Ooh, the mind! You shouldn't have. Now this is a run. Now we're talking. But, like, so I got some kind of... It wasn't like sweet and sour chicken, but it was like one of the generals. You know, there's... I know they're all, like, similar, but General Tso's, General Tao's, you know... Apparently there's just in some places it's just called General Chicken, which is hilarious to me, but probably no more like apocryphal than General Tso or General Tao, but whatever. And it came with like some mixed vegetables, and they're always like steamed and a little salty and delicious, but they're always like strange parts of the vegetable that you're not used to, like the stalk of the broccoli. You're always like, what is this? And then you reverse engineer it in your head, and then you're like, I'm pretty sure this is the part of the broccoli that, like, you don't eat. Then you bite into it, and you're like, I don't know. Tastes like hot salt to me. But yeah, it's like, sometimes you just get a craving for garbage, right? I don't know how to explain it. You've probably experienced it. There are just some days where I'm like, I would love bad food. the example that I hate to be, because this is very snobby maybe, but if you're from like Ontario, I don't know if it's popular in other provinces, but it in BC is like very looked down upon. If you're from Ontario, you might know a little restaurant chain called Swiss Chalet. Swiss Chalet is basically like a rotisserie chicken restaurant. You could kind of consider it like a Boston market, I suppose, but it's very popular, or at least it was very popular in Ontario before I moved, and had been for 2 decades, you know, at that point. It is basically reviled. I don't even... There's probably some left in British Columbia. There used to be one in Vancouver. Anytime I like drove by it, there would always just be like one guy inside of the Swiss Chalet, which is not I think their margins are not good enough to sustain that as a business, and then that they did eventually move or close it down. But every once in a while, my brain is just like, man, you know what would really hit the spot right now? Some microwaved rotisserie chicken. I love the chalet sauce too. I mean, sorry, this is getting a little too Canadian, but... And something about the French fries from Swiss Chalet are, like, actually good. The chicken is, you know, it's one of those chickens that just tastes like chicken. It doesn't have any special... Like Nando's, it has a little... Like, the sauce is a little vivacious, if you will, in it. You know, it's got a little, like, there's burnt edges, kind of, that give it a little extra texture. It's nice, right? Like, the Swiss Chalet food brand is basically, like, Costco chickens, but that cost 3 times as much. And they're served to you, so I mean, you pay a premium for being served, of course, but Wheel of Fortune, High Priestess, dude, I'll pop off with 2 High Priestess cards. As you can see, they're very, very strong. We do have 38 damage, that's pretty good, huh? Oh, but we got 14 rate of fire. That's, like, unironically, that's what popped into my head. Even with 38 damage, I'm like, the time has come to use our orbital. That being said, I wouldn't say no to a Tears upgrade right now. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I don't know. Sometimes your brain just... I don't mean food that's bad for you. I mean food that, like, by any conceivable metric is, A, probably bad for you, yes. But also just, like, if you reviewed it as, like, a food reviewer, you would be like, it's just, like, a 2 out of 5. But then every once in a while, your brain's just like, yeah, I know. That's what I like. That's what I like. Get the General Chicken. I was trying to come up with other lyrics to the Bruno Mars song, you know. Any sauce you want, go and put some slime on it. No, thank you. No, I'll take mine, sans slime, please. No, that's where you're wrong. Brother Sans is a skeleton. Hey, Tomo, join in. Alright, this is the kind of run we needed to return us to the world of the living. 89 damage. It's like modestly, like I feel like if I could get 89 damage on like all of my runs moving forward, I would have better runs. I'm not trying to make controversial statements, but I'll stand by that one. No. It can only bring pain. Anyway, this is a good day of Isaac. This is like my first 3 videos of the day were all Isaac today. They were long. The shortest one was the lost one where we had like no damage upgrades, which is a little frightening in its own right. But I feel like this is the... And you know, sometimes it takes, you know, takes a crisis to create a renewal of faith like this. I feel like after having those... particularly the run that we lost, we've actually managed to, from the ashes of that streak, redouble our efforts to have an enjoyable time in Isaac for both me and the viewers, as a result of playing some random runs. Baby, there's no guidance when random runs, you know? You know what I'm talking about? American water. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!